What's going on YouTube? This is Rybo at the kitchen table today, and I have a quick head-to-head video of these two watches. These are both kind of pilot style chronographs, and although they are in different price categories, I thought it might be fun to do a head-to-head. So you have here a Bulova Lunar Pilot. So this is got the same history, or kind of intertwined history with the Omega Speedmaster. But this goes for, I want to say, between $300 and $500, depending on if you get the bracelet or not. But this is a very storied watch. And then we have the Seiko Flightmaster, which is a very, very popular watch from Seiko. You can see that it is 12 o'clock right now on the dot, which I did not plan. But this is the SNA 411 Flightmaster. Really, really interesting watch, very popular. This one is between $200 and $250. You can get a deal on these sometimes under $200, but generally speaking between $200 and $250. All right, so categories. I'm going to use the dive watch categories because these are both kind of tool watches and a little bit closer to a dive watch than something like a dress watch or a field watch or something like that. Case, crystal, loom, utility, movement, dial, wrist presence, value, and the intangibles category. All right, so case crystal. So both these watches have nice cases. The Bulova is huge. This is a very, very large watch. While I don't have my calipers with me, the lug to lug is really, really large. So if you were to imagine this on my wrist, it's pretty laughable, but this is a huge watch. Doesn't really have a bezel to it. You can see that the crystal comes all the way out here, and you pretty much just have exposed side of the crystal there. But it's a very, very large dial, and it has a sapphire crystal, which is really, really nice. Very, very clear, and overall very nice. The Seiko has a hardlex mineral crystal, which Seikos are kind of known for. That's their thing. This has a domed mineral crystal, which is really, really nice. And I really like the crystal on here. I mean, you get some very nice distortions. The dome is more of a... I don't know. There's not a ton of utility to it, but it is very, very cool. You do get some really, really cool distortions, so that's very cool. Overall, I would say, I would give the crystal win to the Bulova. However, the case side of it, I think, is an easy win for Seiko. Much like the Seiko Turtle and some of their divers, this has a very short lug to lug, which means that for a larger tool watch, this wears really, really nice on the wrist. I think overall the case is a little bit nicer, at least from my wrists, than the Bulova here. You just, nothing too crazy on here, but a little bit bigger, well, a lot bigger, pretty heavy, and doesn't quite hug the wrist as well. But I do think it has a better crystal. All right, loom. This is also going to be a win for the Flightmaster. This has the Seiko Lumabrite. These are loomed indices and hands. However, they're just, nothing's really going to come close to Seiko unless you get kind of up in price or go with something like, I think, Borealis and some of the micro brands are starting to use like Super Luminova and that kind of thing. But Bulova's never really going to come close to Seiko in that respect. What's next? Utility. So this one I'm going to go with Seiko as well. And that's for a few reasons. So primarily, you're looking at a 50-meter water resistance on the Bulova here, which, you wouldn't expect that a flight chronograph would have a high water resistance. And this one has 50 meters. That's probably fine. However, the Seiko has 200-meter water resistance. While you may not need that up in the air, I doubt that many of you are going to be using this up in the air. These have screw-down pushers and obviously a screw-down crown, 200-meter water resistance. And the other thing, this has all of these complicated, this has the bidirectional bezel with all of these complicated, I don't want to call them complications because they're not complications of the watch, but you have a slide rule and several other things here that you can use. I doubt anyone's really going to be using those, but they look cool. But this does have the bidirectional bezel. You do have an alarm on here. So there are a lot of things that I think are very functional on the Flightmaster if you choose to use them. But by itself, the water resistance alone really gives the win, in my opinion, to the Flightmaster. All right, the movement. So this is going to be yet another win for the Flightmaster. So you have a movement, a mecha quartz movement on here, and then you have just a quartz movement here. both, probably going to work about the same. The Mecha Quartz is just such an amazing piece of technology that I really, really like it. If you have a chance to read up on that, I'm not going to go into that a ton, but that is a really, really cool thing. Dial, here's where I'll give an advantage to the Bulova, so that you have a very, very crisp, clean, nicely laid out dial here. And then, to me, in my opinion, the Flightmaster here, just a little bit too complex. It is what everyone likes about it, but a little complex in my opinion. Wrist presence, this absolutely has the biggest wrist presence in terms of the size. It is massive, but for me, I'm probably not going to give either one an advantage here because, this is just way too big for me. I do like the way it looks, but this has something too with that little pop of yellow. I think it wears really nicely, and it's kind of too close for me to call. The value I would easily give to the Seiko, because you're looking at, if you can get a deal on this for under $200, that is an amazing deal. 200 meter water resistance with the chronograph, Mecha Quartz, absolutely. So this is going to be quick because I've got to run, but you can easily see that the Seiko wins this in my opinion. Intangibles, I would absolutely go with the Seiko here. I think it wears better, it has better specs. I love the Mecha Quartz, and honestly, I just think it looks cooler. Plus, there's zero chance that I could ever wear this given the size and my small wrists. Hope you've enjoyed this head-to-head, and I'll see you next time.